meeting those guys. Rave on, Gord Downie. Gord was just a kid. Hell, we were all just kids in 1984. I first met him when I answered a knock at my hotel room door at the Prince George Hotel in Kingston, Ontario. And there he was with a bunch of his high school buddies. It was the middle of the afternoon. We were drinking beer, playing cards, and that knock came to the hotel door, and standing out in the hallway were these really fresh kids shuffling from one foot to the other, and they told me that they were fans of my band, the Florida Razors, and they came to see us at dollar bills. They snuck in, they bought our record, and we were in high school, and they had a band too. I said, oh yeah, what's the name of your band? And one of them said, The Tragically Hip. I said, wow, it's a great fucking name, man. You ought to hold on to that one for sure. I think they might have kept them out in the hallway because there was a card game going on, there was some money on the table, and local colors hanging around. The place had to be quiet. That was the utmost importance, privacy. So we talked out in the doorway about music. They told me they played early Rolling Stones and did a few Monkees covers. So I asked them if they wanted to come down to the bar that night and do a set before. It was like maybe a half hour or 45 minutes. And do you guys actually have enough material to fill that? And they said, yeah, sure. And I closed the door, went back to the card game, and didn't think anything about it. That night, they all showed up. Some of them younger than the ones that showed up to my hotel room earlier that day. So we brought them downstairs into this damp basement we were using as a dressing room. We gave them a couple beers and we all smoked a couple joints. We kept them out of sight because they were way underage and they all looked like Boy Scouts. One of them actually looked like a Girl Guide. We let them use our amps and our drums and basically kept an eye out for them. And 9 p.m. comes and they go up on stage and they plug in and start playing all this really old British invasion music. Songs that I never heard around the post-punk Canadian music scene. And they played them with some kind of awkward precision, like they had actually rehearsed. We never rehearsed, we just did a lot of speed. I was surprised that these guys were actually sitting in a groove, and I can't remember all the songs they played, but there was a version of Baby Please Don't Go by Van Morrison and them, and there was also a version of Off the Hook by the Rolling Stones. I mean, who the fuck does Off the Hook? Nobody around the Hammer, and nobody that I knew of, and it was fresh. It wasn't old geezer-style rock and roll, because these were basically children with guitars and drums playing ancient R&B. And the singer was another story. He wasn't like the gob-soaked, foul-mouthed, street corner knuckleheads I ran into trying to prove something. He was more exotic, kind of rare. Not your average cock-swinging punk frontman. And he really loved singing those songs, man. And I thought that kid was brave to stand up in a room full of boozy-faced Princess Street rounders and allow himself to be fully exposed the way he did. He didn't hide behind ego the way so many of us did. And as Alex the Large from the Clockwork Orange would have said, it was like a great bird had flown into the room. I think that maybe Gord was just innocent. He was innocent then, and somehow, to my eyes, he managed to stay that way, because when I think of Gord Downie in 1984 on that shitty little stage at the Toucan in Kingston, and I think of him a few summers ago on stage at the Interstellar Rodeo in Edmonton, I know that I'm looking at the same guy. A lot of us try to cover up who we are, but Gord, he acted out exactly who he was for all of us to see. The cells didn't change. His innocence stayed intact despite the 33 years between those two performances. And still today, his bravery raves on. He reminded me a bit of Mick Jagger on the Tammy Show back then. He ended up as something that none of us had ever seen before. He was all his own creation, and he was compelling and honest, and he was a live wire that burned a hole into our imaginations and voiced what was the soundtrack to two generations of Canadians, all Canadians, who partied in kitchens or in parking lots before hockey games, songs that blasted from car windows and DJ booths everywhere. Who won the Stanley Cup in 1994? I can't remember. But if I had to take a guess, I'd say it was Gord Downie and the Tragically Hip. September 17th, girl, I know it's Mother's Day. Your son is gone to leave, and that's when he will stay. Wind in the weather vane, tear in blue eyes sail me. His Falstaff sings a sorrowful refrain for a boy in Fiddlers Green. His tiny knotted heart, well, I guess it never worked so good. The timber tore apart, and the water gorged the wood. You can hear her whispered prayer for men at mass, that's always lean. The same wind moves the hair, moves a boy through Fiddlers Green. Nothing's changed anyway. No, nothing's changed anyway. Or any time today. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, it doesn't know his soul, and there's no way that he's really been. But he won't travel alone, no, not in Fiddlers Green. Balloons are filled with rain as children's eyes turn sleepy mean. Falstaff sings a soulful refrain for a boy in Fiddlers Green. Boy in Fiddlers Green. Yeah, 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 yeah. For a boy in Fiddlers Green.